Hello, welcome to 30 Minutes. I'm Rick Anthony. A few weeks ago, I received a call from Chris Flanagan. Chris is the Deputy Superintendent of the Radnor Police Department. He wanted me to know about a new organization, but most particularly, he wanted me to know about a very special man who conceived of the idea of bringing together various representatives from the community in the name of peace. The name of the organization is, in fact, Race for Peace. The originator is Andrew Howell. Andrew is here with us today along with representatives of 3 police departments. But what is significant is that in a relatively short period of time, Race for Peace is gaining prominence as a force for peace and harmony in this entire region. It's been a phenomenal story, and we're eager to tell you about it. Andrew, good to have you with us.
Thanks, Rick.
We have chatted over the phone. This is the first time I've met you, but somehow I feel as if I've known you for a while. Yours is an interesting story, and as we usually do, could we start with what's your background and where did the idea come from?
My background is I'm a construction worker. I have my own business called Howell & Sons LLC, Limited Liability Corporation. And it started from just looking at my grandchildren saying, what can I leave behind as a legacy and something that they won't have to do, work that they won't have to put in. I feel as though Race for Peace is a vehicle, and I feel as though the community and everybody which we serve is a part of it, and they're the key to the Race for Peace.
We have 3 of your collaborators, 3 members of the Race for Peace Committee. We have Chris Flanagan, whom I mentioned before. Thanks for being here, Chris. We have Gene Pasternak from Lower Merion, and we have Joe Hagan from Haverford. Thank you all for being here and for taking the time to be here and share about 30 minutes with us. Keep going with your story about the concept, where it came from, what motivated you to create something that is, I think, unique.
Yes, it's very simplified. I mean, I look around and any other idea or proposal or any thoughts that I ever had, it was always done from what you don't have. So we did not have the Race for Peace 2 or 3 years ago. And I said, well, we don't have everybody coming together as one, not separating and dividing, which goes on every other day. So I said, well, hey, what can we do to get everybody to come together? And when I made the first initial phone call was to Superintendent Michael McGrath. He adopted the idea. Mike pushed the idea. You know, he stuck with it from April 2015 until we had other people come into the group, which was July 2016. So actually, Superintendent Michael McGrath and myself, we sat down hours and hours, meetings and meetings, at least 15 meetings. So that's at least 16 hours worth of discussion about the Race for Peace. And the only reason why it was delayed is because at that point in time, Superintendent Michael McGrath was involved with the Pope. So the Pope was in Philadelphia, and you remember the Pope situation. So that's what delayed it. And then we both said, okay, let's get everybody, start making these phone calls. Mike had to validate me, of course, because some of the guys didn't know me. Some of the top chiefs didn't know me. So Mike validated me, and we've just been going on ever since.
Chris, how did you first learn about Andrew and Race for Peace, and why are you so excited about it?
Andrew ended up reaching out to several police departments, but obviously he called Radnor specifically and started talking about what was going on. And obviously, conceptually, it sounded good. But to Andrew's point, we was validate what's happening and make sure it's a safe thing for the township to get involved in. But hearing that Superintendent McGrath from Lower Merion was involved, our Chief Calarulo wanted us to immediately show support to what these guys were working on in Andrew's mission, and hence we're all sitting here today because of that.
And Gene, is Race for Peace now a part of Lower Merion's, what's it called, community policing?
Oh, absolutely. And I think one of the important things is that it goes beyond our border. It unifies surrounding departments. It brings in community leaders. And Andrew's got an uncanny way of bringing people together.
I think I can attest to that. In Haverford Township, I noticed that on the website, there are, I think I counted 56, and that number is probably higher than that now, but 56 members of the committee. Most of them are police officers. Most of them, therefore, are associated one way or the other with law enforcement. Was that a particular appeal to you as a law officer? that this was intended principally to close the gap between law enforcement and the communities they serve?
Yes, one of the most important things when Andrew came to us, just in the time, it was a perfect opportunity because of recent national events.
Yes.
The light wasn't always being shed in the greatest on law enforcement. We have to have the community support in order for us to be a success. So it allowed all of us police departments to get together with various communities and actually just sit down and have a very candid, open, honest, frank discussions with them. They ask us all sort of questions, and we're there to answer them. And that's what we're there to serve the people of our communities. But it's not just our communities that we come in contact with. We may come in contact with people from Philadelphia, Lowell, Marion, Radnor, and other areas around Haverford Township. So it was a great experience, and it was a great mission that Andrew brought to us.
And you've all been involved in various events over the past year or so. The summit last year,
Yes,
the bike race, a number of other isolated, individual events throughout the Delaware Valley.
Yes, we've had a total of, I think, 8 different events from different counties, Montgomery County, Philadelphia County, Delaware County. We have an upcoming event at the Chester Boys and Girls Club in Chester, PA, where the Chester Mayor, the Chester's Chief of Police Commissioner will be on our panel alongside with Chester's Chief of Fire Chief Commissioner. He'll be on the board also. So we take the program and we go throughout the region, throughout Pennsylvania, and we're hoping and praying, and along with you guys' help with this program, is to have it in everybody's living room across the nation. You know, the race for peace is everybody. Everybody's the race for peace. We're not just the race for peace. You guys are the race for peace, you know. And we need your help. We need your input. We believe that some things are just subliminal images. If you see something in the movies all the time, if you see popcorn and soda at the movies, what's going to happen? You're going to purchase popcorn and soda. So if the race for peace is in everybody's living room, in the papers, on TV, in the radio, the government officials, the police, law enforcement, it'll make it go faster and better.
Andrew, you're an entrepreneur. I think
Yes.
in part of the world I live in, entrepreneurship, you would be called a social entrepreneur. And like any entrepreneur, there are times when you doubt whether or not your idea is going to work, whether or not you're going to have enough energy, whether or not there's going to be enough interest, whether or not there's going to be a market for what you're trying to sell. In the past year or so that you've been promoting and expanding this program, have there been times when you were concerned, maybe doubted, that this could be all you want it to be?
Well, I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm a religious person, so I have to say God is my force, and He just told me, Andrew, put the message out there, put the word out there. You're doing your job. I haven't yet came across anyone who refuses peace, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's the clergy, whether it's the government officials, whether it's community activists like myself. I haven't came across anyone who refuses to cooperate and try to help out with the peace situation throughout our country. Because when our country is in a dire need right now, it's a lot of controversial issues, which we don't have enough time to talk about right now. But this is just a vehicle. This is just a movement. This is just something, instead of saying all the negative things that's always said and nothing positive about a solution, I always hear the problem. Here's the solution right here.
But there have been a number of initiatives locally and across the country to try to deal with the acrimony that exists between law enforcement, between any kind of authority and communities, whether it's based on differences of race, religion, any of the differences we all live with. What I'm asking the officers now, what's been different about the events that you participated in, the summit, the bike ride, the other events that I guess Andrew and your small staff have been organizing around the region?
I can just give you some small examples. Recently, we all went to one event which was held at the mosque down in West Philadelphia. First time I think most of us ever attended an event inside the mosque. I thought one of the funny things was that seeing police officers are normally reserved. We had to take our shoes off, and it's one of the things that we normally don't do. But it put us. We were able to relax. We had open dialogue with all the community members that came in attendance, and also with some of the church members. After that, we had open communication with some of the participants that just came there because of how to handle different things in law enforcement. We often pull over people of different religions, and because of religion, they're not allowed to show their face. We actually were educated by these people. It's something that we had to come out of our comfort zone to learn. So, I mean, just some of these events that, talking with these people are showing us different ways on how to handle different police situations normally that we didn't know how to handle.
Was that the summit?
That was
that
one
the
of the
meeting?
summits it was the old St. Tommy Moore.
Yeah, it
estate.
was the Sister Claire Muhammad
The old St.
School.
Tommy Moore, where I went to high school?
Yes.
47th and Wireless?
Yes.
Huh?
Mhm.
How are you doing? Oh, I'm sorry, you were saying?
Oh no, I was just giving you the location. It was called Sister Claire Muhammad's Mosque at 47th and Wild Lucy, right? The old
Yeah.
St. Thomas. And
We used to smoke in the park across the street.
hey, I believe you. But like Deputy Chief Joseph Hagan just mentioned, there's been a lot of events where, like he said, it takes them out of their comfort zone,
Yeah.
and it's a dual education.
But how do you know, Gene, that this initiative in particular is or may make a difference in the community? May improve the relations with the police?
Well, anytime you have an opportunity to bring people together and have them communicate and have them gain a better understanding of each other, it's always valuable.
Yes.
But unlike other committees or meetings that you see in the press, which are typically a reaction to something negative that has occurred,
Right.
this is a constant and consistent process. We want to meet with people just under general circumstances. When their angers aren't flared or when tensions are not high, and communicate. Now they can discuss with us whatever they want. They can ask us questions. Why do we do this? Why do we do that? But this isn't something where we're just reacting to a single event. This is something that we do regularly and under normal circumstances.
And unlike some of the other initiatives, this is really grassroots, right? Of the 56 names or so I saw on your committee list, they're all individuals. It's not Radnor Township Police Department or Lower Merion or Haverford. Is that correct? So it's not your departments or districts that are signing on. It's individuals within. Is that the way you planned it?
Well, we planned it to go to the tops first, so that whatever ideas or whatever mindset you have, if you can't get it through the guy that's in charge, it's not going to work. So what happens is you go to the tops first, they filter it down through the rank and file. And I think that's what happened, because you have 3 different police departments here, you have 3 different officers here who represent second in charge, second in charge, second in charge. So that being said, you're seeing some of the results of the Race for Peace Committee. One thing that me and Mike always discussed was the recruitment. And I always told Mike, hey, we got to get all these cops on board, and he did it. I mean, you can see it in front of you right now, so, and each one of these guys, superior, are very much dedicated wholeheartedly for the program, because we all want the same thing.
Chris, is the program been in place long enough that you can see results, some evidence of warming, better understanding?
Well, I think on the individual scale, we see it immediately, because I've watched a couple times as the events have ended, and the community and the other people are having true interaction. People are not just getting up and rolling out the door. We have officers who actually want to interact with somebody who may be upset or have a perception about something that they want to deal with. And I have seen that and been a part of a couple conversations that were meaningful, and I believe besides for answers and explanations and understanding, there was actually a sense of peace and a sense of trust, which is very valuable. Some of the events were small, and we were hoping for more, and then other events we were overwhelmed with people, like at the King of Prussia Mall, where we met so many different walks of life, so many different regions were represented, economic everything was different, and they were able to meet us all, and we were overwhelmed. I mean, we didn't even really have a chance to talk. We were actually exhausted after that event in a good way, and there's just great things that are coming out of this, but each one yields a different fruit at the end of it. But I think we're seeing results, and we need to get the word out. I do want to stress that there are other people besides police. Andrew has created a nice group of community representatives
Yes.
from religious institutions,
Mhm.
some political institutions, and just good people from neighborhoods who care and want to have a sense of peace in their community. So we're seeing growth in that as well, which helps us go to a particular location and make a difference, whether small or large crowd.
It's phenomenal. We have a clip from your first summit.
Yes.
When was that?
That was October 28th, 2016.
Okay. It's a short clip. I think it was Channel 10 who
Yes.
sent a crew out.
Channel 6, yes.
Okay, let's take a look at that clip.
Role-playing like this is part of the plan to improve police relations with local communities. The Race for Peace Summit was held yesterday at Mount Pleasant Baptist Church in Lower Merion Township. Community activists, members of the clergy, and police chiefs representing more than a half dozen local police departments all came together to build better relationships.
Proud and I'm blessed that they came and they're on the committees and they're going wholeheartedly to make this thing a positive solution.
The summit is designed to build positive relations between officers and the people they serve in Philadelphia and the suburbs.
Andrew, on your website, you
Yes.
list a number of goals,
Yes.
and they're all aspirational, things you hope to achieve. There's one in particular that caught my attention, and I'll read it. Developing incentive programs that will help promote peace. What types of incentives?
Well, that's a good question, Rick. Everybody always asks that question. How
They
do you
do?
how do you get somebody to have an incentive to develop something?
Yeah.
Well, I always tell them, let's have the meeting of the mind. It's whatever. You know, if I'm not the smartest guy in the world. You know, I just, you know, it's from instinct. It's whatever somebody would want to see as a result, as for them getting involved. You know, and I would like to stress that each person that's on the committee has done an outstanding job. I mean, Chris Flanagan, Eugene, Joe, these guys are incredible. You know, it really touches me. You know, I don't want to get too personal, but it really touches me that these guys are just like me. They're human just like we are. You know, and this is a whole different police and community relations.
Yeah.
This is what I call a highly sophisticated way of doing community policing.
What are you doing? What special programs do you have for young people to bring them in?
Well, that's a good question. We just left Girard College,
Mhm.
which is a historical black school in Philadelphia, PA, and we had a program down there. I can let Joe and Eugene elaborate on that because they were there,
Mhm.
and they could maybe talk about the discussion about what happened when they came.
We met with the kids in the middle school, and it was a fantastic experience. What they did first, they were given ideas, what they had to come up with, and their ideas for peace. Some of their ideas were to rap a song to, sing a song, write a poem. And it was a unique situation where they did their presentation first to us, and then we opened the floor to discussions. And they asked some great questions. I mean, and questions that you would hear from adults. And it was a very open, honest discussion back and forth with the kids, telling them what we would like to see as, you know, peace. And it gives them another perspective as us police officers, seeing that we're just like any other, you know, person out there. We may have a uniform, but we're caring, and you know, we care about their future. And one of the touching parts about that was there was one young lady who was afraid to get up in front of the crowd to read her poem. She got stage fright. Afterwards, she came up and seeked each one of us out and asked us to read it personally. But what we did is we actually took her backstage, gave her a pep talk, and said to her, listen, we all get stage fright sometimes. You know, we speak in front of crowds. You read it to us. And she read it to like a group of 4 of us. And it was a really touching experience. And it was to get to know the kids. We're planning on going back with, you know, to see them and try to make it like a regular event.
Yeah, that was a very nice event, and like Joe said, they asked a lot of good adult, mature questions. They asked about police work. They asked technical questions, but they also asked a lot of questions which I really liked, which were just about us. What kind of TV shows do you like? If you weren't a police officer, what would you be? And that was great because it really humanized us.
Yes.
And I think that broke down a lot of barriers and stereotypes. And it was amazing because nobody wanted to raise their hand and ask the first question. And my colleague over here, with his great wisdom, said, whoever asks the best question gets out of homework. And the hands just went up, okay? And we'd still be there answering questions if we didn't have to end it at a certain time. Hands were up 20 at a time. People who had already asked 2-3 questions were raising their hands. It was really a great event, and I hope that, they really got to know a lot about us, not just as police officers, but to see that we're people.
Chris, you want to add anything to that?
We did not attend that event, but it demonstrates, though, the difference
Yes.
from the mall to a school to a synagogue. There's a lot of different experiences, and all of them are important
Yes.
in getting to meet us, humanizing us, and making their issues and questions, getting them out there. It really does educate people that we're people too.
So are you taking the program into the schools,
Yes.
secondary schools and high schools in Haverford, Radnor, and Lower Merion as well?
Well, that's our goal. Our goal is to, like I said at the beginning, is to be in every household in America. And one way to get it in every household in America is through programs like this, through going to schools, through going to the churches, through going to boys and girls recreation centers and stuff like that, where we just continue to spread the word, find the people that we have in common, because that's what we're doing. We're finding a common ground. So we all have something in common as being human beings. But a lot of people talk about the environment, which I'm very much an environmentalist. But I tell people all the time, if we don't have peace first,
Yes.
you can forget about the environment. So just saying that being said, everybody should know how important this is. Very, very, very important. And any person that's religious knows that all religious books say the same thing. Peace is number one on the book. So, and that's not trying to offend anybody that's not religious. Those who are atheists, who believe in science and stuff like that, this is a heck of a science team.
To grow, you're going to need funding. How have you been funded up to now?
So far, it's been privately. So we are a
You're a
nonprofit. We're a nonprofit organization. Our funding has been private so far, through donations to single individuals and stuff. But we're in the process of getting our 501c grade, which makes it a little easier. But we are a nonprofit organization. We do have a bank account. They can make donations, and what the donations are for is for our pamphlets, the programs that we have, ice cream, water, cakes, or whatever, and stuff like that. And,
You'll be looking for corporate sponsors, I would think.
well, Chris Flanagan was very, very helpful with when we had the summit. Lieutenant Chris Flanagan was able to get the Wawa to support us and have donations. Chris Flanagan got us here, So
That's right.
I mean, these officers are doing a heck of a job. I mean, I couldn't do no more myself. It's weird when you find somebody that has the same thought that you have, but it's weird when they actually do the work. So
The need is enormous.
yes,
So,
it is.
You probably achieved more than you ever imagined you might in a relatively short period of time. Is that fair to say?
Hey, I cannot lie. That is a heck of a thing to say, and it's actually the truth. What's going on is that the race for peace, like I said in the beginning, it's in everybody.
Yeah.
So when you have all these individuals trying to promote
Yes.
the race for peace, and they're all on the same page, it just makes it a heck of a lot easier, a heck of a lot faster, because when you drop the ball, somebody else picks it up. So
What's the next chapter? What's the next level? I know you do have faith-based groups involved. I saw the list on the
yes, we do.
listed. I know you've got a few sports figures
Yes,
who are involved.
yes, we do.
You certainly have law enforcement. You have business and civic leaders as well. At least I saw a smattering of names.
Yes,
on
we
the
do.
list.
And what we're going to do is just tap them on the shoulder. Ask for a little bit more input, a little bit more influence, and a little bit more involvement. For this to work, which it is working so far, but for it really to work for the masses, everybody has to be involved. We don't discriminate against anybody. We don't have any division, whether you're Republican, or Democrat, or whatever, religious or.
You keep saying that, and what I mean is you keep saying you want it in every household, everybody. How are you going to do that? You started as a local, regional movement, but you have aspirations of going national, apparently.
Well, I was told as a younger man, it doesn't take much to do anything. It only takes one. As you see, that's one of our slogans. It only takes one. And I was also told when you do something, do it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
They said, when do you do it? Do it right now.
Mhm.
You know, so
You are an entrepreneur.
I think that I think the group is extra extraordinary. I think that the rate that we're going, the pace that we're at, it's easy because it went from one person
Right. Right.
to another individual, which now I think our website says it's 5,000 visitors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, said the Facebook is over 1,000 or
Mhm.
something like that. But like you said, from the short period of time, from 8 different events, 15 meetings, to be able to come up with what we came up with, it's incredible. It's incredible.
These folks provide feedback, I'm sure, to you and the other organizers. What particular feedback have you been giving Andrew? To improve the meetings, expand the meetings, different themes, try to reach different people? Any particular ideas? Joe?
One of the important things, we're always honest with each other. After the meetings, we always do a critique, how to improve the product that,
Mhm.
we're out there. We have very open, honest discussions in our monthly meetings of, we could do this a little bit better. Why don't we do this? One of the best discussions that we had was the plan we came up with at the first summit was to have a lunch there. And then to break for lunch and then come back after lunch and
Mhm.
have the panel continue. The great thing about that was it allowed us to interact with each other.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
we have to be conscious, as police officers, we like to hang together and talk together. But we made it a conscious, decision to make sure we went out and sat with the group and the, individuals that we never met, and to see like a little one-on-one relationship with them. So each time that we have one of these events, we look to improve it each way and how we can get it out there better. So that's what our monthly meetings are when we have them each month, to improve it, the product. And you always want to improve.
Exactly.
You want to get it out there, and who else can we reach out to?
How do people learn more about the Race for Peace, Andrew? You
Well,
have a
they-
website.
Yes, we do. We have a website. But like you were saying, to get the word out, I mean, these guys, Eugene, Chris, Mike, John Viola, Tom Nolan, these guys have been incredible as to getting the word out. I'm a community activist. My job is to do what I'm doing, but to also educate the community
Mm-hmm.
and validate these guys. That's my job. Their job is to do what they're doing. So we all do what we're doing best. And I think that's why we work so good together, and we're not pointing the finger as to that's why we're in the predicament we're in. We're all at fault. We're all at fault. So what we're doing is fixing the problem. And we start fixing it by dialogue, an open conversation, an honest conversation with one another. And like Joe just said, the honesty that's coming through our meetings
Mhm.
is a little different, I think, from other people's meetings and stuff like that. We have a very honest group, and we have people that give us great questions and great answers to help us. So
Yeah.
the Race for Peace is, like I said, it's in everybody. It's already across the world. It's already in every. It's already in every. We just have to.
You should be very proud and even humbled because of the receptivity you've had from so many different people who share your desire for peace and harmony among all of us, regardless of our differences. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick. I really appreciate it. God
Thank
bless
you. And gentlemen, thank you very much for being with
Thank
us
you.
today. Until next time, this is 30 Minutes. I am Rick Anthony. Take very good care of yourselves